Hello, everyone. Please welcome to this InnoMatch Badger series. Today we have the subject uptake of results and key consideration to maximize impact. Here we are today in this fourth and last webinar series, which will contain the following points. I'm going to start with the introduction to the EIC Innovation and Procurement Program and the benefits for both the buyers and EIC awardees on the InnoMatch project. Then following, we are going to have the barriers that prevent the successful uptake of innovation results by Jorge González, who is the Ticbiomed director. And then Fiorella Tamburrelli from ICLEI is going to present the open call for buyers and its final remarks before the deadline. Then at the end, we are going to have these Q&A sections to answer all your doubts and questions. And as we have been doing in all these 4 webinars, this session will be entirely recorded, so then you can access to our recording in the YouTube channel and in InnoMatch Project website. All the participants should be mute, but anyway, you can provide us with your question in the Q&A section. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with the EIC Innovation Procurement Program. The European Innovation Council is the EU flagship innovation program for game-changing innovation. They gather the top-notch innovators in Europe through their different services. As part of this, they have created the Innovation Procurement Program. The aim is to support all the EIC awardees to increase the knowledge and the skills through contacts, but also contracts coming from innovation procurement as a way to support them in their scaling up and commercialization. Within it, they have different projects such as InnoMatch, but also others as the one presenting here, which is Spin for EIC. In this Spin for EIC, they provide pitching events for both private and public procurers. They also provide assistance to public procurers to assess their needs, support open market consultation procedures, or prepare tender documents. In this Spin for EIC program, they also support the supply side with academies and toolkits on innovation procurement, or pitching events to present their solution to potential customers, and assistance to identify new opportunities. Now, what we have here, we have InnoMatch. What we are doing here, what we are doing in InnoMatch is de-risking innovation procurement by bringing together buyers of innovation and the EIC awardees to develop pilots and proof of concept before launching the procurement strategy. This means that buyers can test the solution before investing on a larger procurement strategy. It works with a buyer having an innovation challenge and an EIC awardee with a tailored solution that can solve this challenge. Through an open call procedure, we select the most suitable EIC awardees who get 60,000 euros to pilot the solution while they are part of the InnoMatch program, which provides expert support and guidance for 12-month program and post-pilot support. The aim is to increase the potential for adoption from the demand side and to increase the chances of commercialization from the supply side. So, what are the benefits for the EIC awardees? To access strategic customers and have a first market reference. It is also an opportunity to test, improve, and validate their solution. And it is also an opportunity to increase the potential for early adoption of their solution. And then in the other side, for the buyer, it provides an opportunity to address the innovation challenge free of charge, to collaborate with top-notch innovators as the EIC awardees are. From our personal opinion, they are the very best from Europe, and also to mitigate the risk with this test before invest approach. Then there are 2 different types of open calls. We have here the open call 1 for buyer and ESC awardee already paired. It is closing on the 17th of this month, so you just have 2 days left to apply, but it is going to reopen in November. Within this first open call, we are funding up to 33 pilots, so the success rates are very high. And then we have also the open call 2, which deadline is the May the 8th. It is also a bit tight, but you still have time to submit. And here, a buyer submit their unmet need, and then the ESC awardees submit their potential solution to solve this need. Through a matchmaking, we connect the most suitable solution to the buyer. And here in this open call, just 5 pilots are going to be funded. Then our colleague Fiorella is going to get deeper into this open call for buyers. But currently, that's all from my side. And I would like to introduce Jorge González, the Ticbiomed director. Jorge, the floor is yours. I'm going to give you the control, or if not, you can tell me about having next slide, okay?
Okay, I don't see it yet that I have the control. Carlos.
No, you haven't, but I can pass
okay,
the
just
slide.
go with it. So yeah, I don't know, guys, if you want to turn off your cameras while I talk, that's up to you. Okay, so I'm Jorge González. I'm the director of Ticbiomed. We are an organization. We are basically specializing in demand-driven innovation. You may think that because of our name, we only do that in health. We do it across sector. Okay, so we know a lot of health, but what we are going to talk today in InnoMatch and in other initiatives that we have are completely cross sector. So Carlos, next, please. So why are we here? Okay, what we see is that too much successful innovation is not uptaken, is not deployed. Okay, so for example, we do a pilot, we do an European project, national project, everything goes very well, everybody's happy with the results at the end of the project, and then nothing happens. Okay, the pilot goes to somewhere, dies little by little, nobody kills it, but it's not moving on. Okay, so next. So what we see is that then all the potential impact, because some people think, yeah, but there has been an advancement in research and innovation. Of course there has been an advancement, but the advancement could be much more if it is deployed. And the benefit for end users, for all the involved, the procurer, the company solving that, it is so limited because the whole thing goes to the waste. That is really, really hard for everybody. So what we want to have is next, what we think is a terrible waste. It's a terrible waste of money, of opportunity. There is a huge opportunity cost, especially for the company involved in the co-creation, in the pilot of the solutions. Okay, and especially for the people that were directly working on the pilot. They have put these efforts, especially, for example, they maybe even done it after work, taking time from your family, taking time from your sleep or their leisure, and then they get very frustrated because they know now that there is a solution that solves the unmet need, the challenge, and then it's not deployed. So basically, they say innovation is not worthy. Okay, don't call me again for a pilot. So next. What we think is that adoption, uptake, deployment, escalation, whatever you want to call it, is critical for having impact and also for leverage the investment of whoever has been your funder. That could be the European Union, it could be a regional or a national innovation agency, whoever, okay? So I guess that everybody understands that why we do innovation is to generate impact, to generate growth, to increase the society welfare. okay? And that's what we are not seeing. Next. So this is what we see. We start usually with the ideation phase. Okay, we identify the challenge. Then, and that's, for example, the typical case that we are going to see in InnoMatch. What we see in OC2 is that where the buyer, as we call it, though it's really the for us the public organization or the public organization, what they say is that, okay, this is the problem I want to get solved. Okay, and then they look for a company, a private company, a startup, an SME, whoever can do a solution that we have worked together works. Okay, and everybody's very excited about that and say, okay, let's get it. Okay, and then what it will be, what you will expect is that the buyer adopts the solution, especially because they were the first ones that they say yes, we want to get this solution solved, and they have put a personnel doing the co-creation. And then you will expect that the company, for example, in InnoMatch case, the EIC, because only EICs are eligible, says, okay, since this is work, we are going to commercialize that in the buyer and all the other potential buyers around the world, okay? But what we see is that there is a valley of death. And that was the background that we used at the beginning, okay? We see that nothing happens in between. So all the efforts are wasted, and basically money, time, the opportunity don't deliver, okay? Next. So what happens when there is no failure, okay? I'm going to stress this and this over and over again because I want you to motivate to think why we do this in the first place. So what happens if there is a failure of adoption? Okay, so for the solvers are the most damaged by this situation. Okay, because if the organization they do the pilot, they don't acquire the solution, they lose market credibility. They say, okay, imagine that they want the buyer doesn't acquire the solution, and then the solver say, okay, I'm going to try it to sell it in another potential customer. That then potential customer asks, where are you? Who has this solution before? And say, oh, I did it with this organization, but they are not uptaking it. But we think that for you is perfect. Then that potential customer will say, if you did it with them and it's so good as you claim, why they didn't uptake it? Why they didn't deploy? What are you not telling me? So the whole trust goes to the trash. Okay, so that is critical for then that enables the company to sell outside because they lose the faith of the market. Of course, there is an opportunity cost. They could have spent their resources, usually very limited, their time, their funding, to something else that is more promising. Okay, so that's why it harms so much solvers. For the buyers, for the public organization, the private organization asking for the solution, maybe for the organization is not so much of a loss, especially if they have been funded externally. But for those working on the pilot, it really demotivates them, okay? Especially the functional guys. For example, in our case in health, that we are very close to, the doctors, the nurses. But if you take in the town hall, the civil services, whoever has been closely working on this, that really were hoping that there was a solution for the problem that they stated, it really, they say, why to keep on doing this? Okay, so basically what happened is that it kills the culture of the organization towards innovation, which is the most important thing in order if you want to make innovation systemically incorporate improvements in the organization over time. Now, for the funders of the innovation, especially for example in our case in InnoMatch, the European Commission, then the money they put on the table has very little return of investment. Okay, meaning that If you talk at European level, project after project after project means that we are less competitive, okay? Had the funded project have a higher impact. And then for society, means like all this potential of having more jobs and growth that will generate more wealth overall is not there. And actually, especially if you're talking about public organizations as becoming the buyers, they do not improve the services that they were intended to. Next. So this is why is such a phase. Now, why this happens? Why this happens? Nobody wants this. So why this happens? Now, we are going to start with the bias barriers. What happens with the organizations? They ask for the innovation to find a solution in the first place. What are the barriers that they don't adopt? Next. So we have a number of them. Okay, one of them is that innovation is not aligned with the core strategy. And what happens is that sometimes the people deciding, the decision makers, or if implementing this or not, usually, many times, they don't know that this is going on if the organization is very big, and then they realize, oh, yes, this is a problem, but it's not so critical. It is not so strategic. It's not worth investing time and especially resources. So yes, interesting, but we will not support this after the project end, after the pilot end. Now, the second option, and this doesn't mean that it's happening all the time in every organization. Okay, there is a mixture, and probably there are more. But another thing is that sometimes these organizations, they have an innovation unit, and that innovation unit has to pay salaries. They have to pay structures. So they chase funding opportunities from the European Union, national, regional, because they have to pay salaries, to be honest with this. And then they apply to project after project, and because they get better in submitting applications, they get those projects. They do the project, they finish, and because they don't have the power after the pilot to implement it, they don't have the resources, they don't know how to write a contract, etc., etc. They just say, guys, this is what I done, it's great, here, or for you, I will go to my next pilot, to my next innovation project. Okay, and then the people on the other side of the fence say, well, what's happening here? I didn't ask for this, I didn't know this, my budget is not contemplated this. So, okay, let's see if we can do it, say, next year. Okay, when I will paint this in the budget. And of course, next year, nothing happens. Okay, so they don't kill it, but they don't advance it. So means that it will not happen. The other thing is critical governance, okay? There are not resources, processes, or roles to transition between the successful pilot into a when it's everybody's responsibility, it's nobody's work, meaning nobody does it. Next. So those were the governance and the strategy, but we have other issues that can happen from time to time, okay? Maybe some key staff leaves the organization before or in the middle or at the end of the pilot, okay? Sorry, in the middle or at the end of the pilot. Or they have little support from top management or intermediate management. So when there is an issue, there is a problem, they are not there to remove the stuff that prevents the advancement of the pilot, or to move just from one phase to the other, from end of pilot to deployment. So again, because there is no top management support, when there is a problem, then nobody cares. There is nobody there to solve the problem, and it dies. And another time is that, especially when they say, okay, everybody's happy, there is a governance, yeah, let's do it, there is a responsible, and then that responsible finds that they don't have a team and they don't have the money to deploy it, okay? There are too many priorities, and this is not a priority, as I mentioned. Okay, so even if everybody is happy with it, there is a person that should move, that person is unable to move forward because he has no money or no team. Next. So this is things that we have seen in the buyers, okay, in the public organizations that remember, they ask for a solution in the first place. They trigger the project as an organization. But the thing is that what we have realized is that that organization is not like a block. They don't act like an army that they go all in the same directions. They are like pieces of a puzzle that they are not connected and they overlap, but they don't fit, okay? Because there is this misalignment, that means that at the end, things don't happen. Now, you will say, hey, okay, they are a big organization, they are bureaucratic, the people don't speak to each other. Yeah, that's fair enough. But the companies should be the very first interested in this, that there is a follow-up, okay? They have a very strong commercial interest, so there should be no problems with the private companies, in our case, the EACs, in InnoMatch, because you guys are the ones that are eligible. However, we still see issues in the EACs. I mean, in other companies. Doesn't mean that it has to be the EACs, it's any private company, okay? And not all of them happens, but we see things in some of them. Next. And believe it or not, what we see is that because there is no anticipation that the pilot is what's going to happen between the end of the pilot and the deployment of the commercialization, you still need marketing, you need your sales team to be aware of it, to prepare for the commercialization, because there is no anticipation, there is no governance, there is nobody in charge, and there is no budget for doing all these things to put the product that is kind of a prototype into a product and then sell it, then it dies, right? During co-creation, there is no business model. It's not the same. You can have the very same technology, but the business model can be different, and the business model is critical because there are little discussions about the business models. Then when is the time to think about the business model, maybe it's too late, okay? Because that influence, the right business model, so to say, should have influenced the development of the pilot, and because there is a mismatch between the right business model and what the prototype is, then that creates a barrier that the organization decides to abandon the whole thing. Now, as I mentioned before, when the prototype works, because that's what you usually get into a pilot, then you usually need a follow-up on deployment. Either for rounding, polishing the prototype with the, say, for example, the user interface, the interoperability, delta in functionality, or at the very minimum, you need to invest in the commercialization. You need to invest in your salespeople to go to the market and sell. And the thing is that, especially if you're going, well, in public organizations, big public organizations, or even big private organizations, the sale cycles tend to be very long. It's not that you just go to the market and you crush it. You need to invest time in the sales, and that requires money. So if you don't have that money, means that you are not ready to get it to the market. And because you have other projects likely that they are market ready and they have already an investment prior to the prototype development, that means that, again, it's not a priority and it goes nowhere. And the last one that we see is that usually also EACs, companies, they have their own innovation units, okay? And those innovation units, sometimes they are not aligned with the commercial decision makers in marketing, sales, top management, because they are kind of also specialized in projects, innovation projects. They have the same perverse incentives that the big organizations, okay? They need to, their business model, so to say, is to do pilot after pilot after pilot. And when the pilot is over, then they say, okay, here are the results, you marketing guys, this is your time now. I'm going to look for new projects and so on and so forth. Next. Now, this is individually for the big organization and individually for the private company. There are also issues in the collaboration between two. Next. And these issues is that usually, most of the time, there is lack of engagement between decision makers and for that. So there is a lot of connections between, say, the innovation units between the two. Okay, so at the technical level, but when you get up, and so you need to make, high-level decisions. For example, about the model for post-pilot adoption, or for example, what is going to be the price of the solution. There is no agreement during the piloting. So means when the pilot ends, maybe the private organization, the SME, the EIC, you guys, in this case, no, this is worth this. And then the public organization comes, well, okay, maybe this is worth this, but I only have money for this. I usually say sometimes the EIC, the private company, develops a Ferrari, and then at the time of truth, then the public organization, yes, great, but I only have money for a Volkswagen Golf. So even if your solution is great, I cannot acquire. Had these guys talk from the very beginning, they could have said, okay, this is going to be the price, and then the solver of the guy creating the solution say, okay, I'm going to adapt my development to be able to have this price cap, so I can sell it afterwards. Okay, but because there is no communication during the piloting, during the co-creation, that means that when the pilot ends and it's the time to say, okay, guys, there is a mismatch that prevents for getting the commercialization by the customer, the buyer. Next. So what from Ticbiomed? Ticbiomed is a partner from InnoMatch, as you know. We have been dealing with these problems for a long time. We have been supporting this type of calls, this type of projects many times, and we are kind of frustrated to see that the majority of the pilots work, but then there is no traction afterward. So we have launched an initiative that we call Impactful Innovation that, as you may guess, the objective is to maximize chances that there is impact after successful piloting. Next. So we are going to give you just an example. Okay, there are many different ways. There are many different collaboration types between a customer and a supplier. Okay, we are going to focus here in a demand-driven innovation approach. Okay, this is very similar to what is the OC2, as we call it in InnoMatch, where here in the first is the customer identifying the need. Then they usually do a market consultation to improve this and the wording and what are the functionalities around that need that in order to be solved. Then we say that from need it moves into a challenge. Once we have the challenge, then the customer launches a search for the right supplier. They select the supplier. Then they do together they do the co-creation, and then there is an evaluation. Okay, and as I was saying before, in our case, we think that around 80% of the times, if not more, the solution works. The solution solves the unmet need. Okay, and then adoption is taken. It's supposed to happen by everybody, especially the innovation units of the solver and the supplier and the funder. Okay, in this case, for example, the European Commission, whoever has paid for this process to happen. That's why I put the question mark. Okay, what I've been telling you over and over again is that adoption doesn't happen systematically. Okay, so next, regarding this impactful innovation, we have made this kind of joke that when you put your glasses, your impactful innovation glasses next, this is what you see. You see that for the same life cycle, what we say is that if you want to have adoption at the end, you need to anticipate. You need anticipation. You need to anticipate that success and put there what we call adoption touch points along the life cycle to increase chances that that uptake, that deployment, that procurement happens at the end of the process. So, for example, you need to have a champion supporting the top management. You need to connect with the different stakeholders that are going to be critical at the time of making the decision. Legal department, IT, procurement, whoever is going to make a decision at the time of procurement, they should be engaged from the very beginning of the project. For example, in our case, here in InnoMatch and in other projects, we ask for a proof of commitment, okay? And this, in our case, is 40%, is the highest mark, okay? Because we want the top management to say, if a solution is found, yes, we will do everything in our best to adopt it at the end of the cycle. That means that many organizations, they are not willing to commit at this stage, which for us then say, okay, if you are not willing to commit, we prefer to work with the ones that they commit. And believe it or not, we have organizations that they commit to do that they even make reserves of budget at this stage, okay? So we have less applications in terms of budgets, but we think, but those that apply is because they have a real intention, okay? Please understand that not because we do everything like this, we'll have success at the end, okay? But what we think is that the more of this that we have, the more chances, okay? So, for example, one thing is that, for example, when is the time to select the supplier, we ask those decision makers, those stakeholders to be part of the jury, so they feel they are part of the project, okay? Very importantly, when you see that the solution is going to work, you do a financial reserve, okay? So, for example, say that the pilot ends in April. Then if you don't anticipate in November to say, okay, I'm going to do a reserve in the budget because I think that this is most likely going to work. So when it's the time of doing the procurement, I will have a reserve in the budget, and then money should not be an issue, okay? And then to have this governance to move between successful pilot and the tender, okay? Who is going to write the tender? Who is going to manage the resources? Who is going to put together all the different stakeholders? There has to be someone, okay? And the earlier you know about the governance, the transition between successful pilot and tendering procurement, the more chances that this doesn't go to the valley of death, because you know, who is going to do that? No, you will do it. No, but I'm very busy. No, guys. From the early that you know who is going to do what, when, with which resources, that's what I call governance, the more chances that as soon as the pilot works, you realize that the pilot has worked, then there will be a very smooth transition and with the procurement. Next. So if you think that this you require more knowledge, we have created this library where you can see we have resources about this, what we have told, we have examples of challenges, we have examples of what is also innovation procurement, what is demand-driven innovation. We have more than 400 resources. You can see there are the hyperlink. It's public, it's free. You can filter, you see here on the left-hand side. So we invite you to access it. We will be sharing this presentation, or even we can put the link in the chat. But you know, it is there. Next. By the way, we have sorry, I forgot to say that we even have an special. We have done a selection of resources there in the InnoMatch. If you go to the bottom on the left-hand side, we have done a selection out of this. We don't expect you to read 400 resources, but so that's why we have made a selection for you. And with this, Carlos, if you go to the next one, this is my last slide, and I hand it over to Fiorella, unless that you want me to answer any question at this point, or we leave it till the end.
I was saying, Jorge, that it was very interesting. We already have some questions. We can answer them once we get into the Q&A sections. So now it's time for Fiorella. So Fiorella, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for your presentation, your introduction. Good morning, nice to meet you. With this final intervention, I'd like to remind you of the deadline of the call for buyers, briefly go over its content and conclude with some frequently asked questions. So the first slide, you can notice that the call is open exclusively to public and private buyers and will remain open until 8 May. Buyers are invited to share an unmet need related to an innovative solution that is not yet available on the market. And this unmet need should be relating to the 5 thematic areas that we will see in the next slide. Then I will like to anticipate that selected buyers will later be matched with the EAC awardees who will be chosen through a separate call to be launched next year. Together, they will take part in a 12-month program. During the program, the EAC awardees may receive funding of up to €60,000 to deploy this innovative solution. So next slide, please. So here you can find the 5 thematic areas in which your unmet need can be related to. So we have agriculture, food, beverage, construction, infrastructure, manufacturing, digital transformation, health and life science, energy, environmental sustainability, and mobility. Who can apply? Next slide. So this open call is open to public and private buyers from eligible countries. So from European member state and Horizon Europe associated countries. These buyers can apply individually or in groups. Indeed, you can know more details by reading the guidelines, but I can anticipate you that with the support of the InnoMatch mentors, the single and group application will be aggregated into 5 groups, sharing the same or similar innovation needs. Each group will be assigned 1 leader buyers and a number of observing buyers. Applicants, whether single or a group, must submit a letter of commitment detailing in-kind contribution. For example, the assigned team's capacity or planned action to support solution adoption if the pilot or POC succeed. Next slide. How will the best proposal be selected? So after the eligibility check, there will be an external evaluation and the application will be evaluated according to the 4 main evaluation criteria. We will have commitment, so the evaluation of the management support and the readiness to adopt the solution if it proves successful will be evaluated, along with the impact that it's relating to the proposed solution, the potential economic, environmental, and social benefit relating to the proposed solution for the unmet need selected. Then we will have the alignment. So there will be assessed if the buyer's unmet need can align with the InnoMatch approach and methodology. And also innovation will be a criteria, an evaluation criteria. In this criteria, the external evaluators will evaluate to which extent the unmet needs required an innovation solution that is not currently available in the market. So this is briefly the content of the unmet need. Of course, the content of the open calls. After the evaluation, there will be a final ranking based on overall score. The InnoMatch consortium and the external evaluators will select the 5 unmet needs, and so the 5 group of buyers who can match with the EAC awardees that can be selected in the open call that we launch next year. Now we would like to go through some frequently questions that we received that can be useful also for you to analyze. So next slide, please. Okay. So what is an unmet need? What types of unmet needs are eligible? As I said before, unmet needs must align with one of the 5 thematic areas. These 5 thematic areas are the ones that we need to be in mind once you submit your proposal. And an unmet need is a buyer's purchasing requirement that is not currently satisfied, and of course it's relating to an innovative solution for which there is not a solution already available on the market, and for this reason it's important to have a pilot deployment or a proof of concept demonstration. The other question that we received, the next one, next slide. Who are the EAC awardees? The EAC awardees are companies known as are companies that are SMEs and startups supported by programs from the European Innovation Council, such as EAC Pathfinder, EAC Transition, and EAC Accelerator or Winners or EAC Prizes. So if you are asking yourself if these are able to address your needs, just to we can highlight that the EAC awardees have passed the rigorous EU level selection process, and for this reason have a proven track record in deep tech, scalability, and impact. They are quite advanced in providing some innovative solution. There is also a list of them that can be consulted on this deal flow database. In addition, the InnoMatch consortium will support you in redefining your unmet needs, turning into a clear challenge and make it more attractive and actionable for EAC awardees that we will select afterwards. Next slide. Okay, what kind of contribution are we asking from buyers? Buyers are required to make in-kind contribution in order to follow this 12-month program. So the funding will provide just to EAC awardees that will receive up to 60,000 euro to deploy the pilot or demonstrate the proof of concept during the InnoMatch program. You will receive, of course, in-kind contribution and the benefit to know some innovation, also some innovation aspect relating to the future purchase of this solution. The other question that we receive is what information should be included in a Management Executive Decision Act. So this is a question that we received mainly from the public buyers. So this is an act that public buyers should adopt before apply for the open call. So you can provide in this act some information regarding the InnoMatch. So that is InnoMatch is an action grant, and it's governed by both the European Financial Regulation and Horizon Europe regulation, that the granting authority is the European Innovation Council and the SMEs Executive Agency, and that the buyers are required to provide in-kind contribution and of course other information relating to the open calls that you can find within the guidelines. This is again an act that public buyers can adopt before the to apply for the open call. This information that we put in these bullet points can be useful for you to draft this decision act. Next slide, please. So the next question is how to purchase the developed solution after the end of 12-month program. A roadmap for the purchasing solution will be included in the post-pilot adoption plan. So we will talk about this in the interim and final report that you will finalize with the ESC awardings during the program to monitor the advancement of the project. You will therefore receive tailored support to identify the most suitable procurement option based on your specific case. Are public buyers obliged to purchase the solution later on? Of course, if you are not satisfied with the solution developed during this 12-month program, there is no obligation to purchase it. However, we would like to highlight that the selection process of the parties involved and the subsequent matching with ESC awardees are designed to ensure a high probability of success for the solution to be developed with the aim of facilitating its potential subsequent purchase. The next slide is a graphic in which you can see the process that you are going to attend. So if you are a public buyers or a private buyers, you can present your proposal with your unmet needs. Once you will be selected, we can proceed with the open call for the ESC awardees next year. Then after the matching with these ESC awardees, the 12 program will start, in which you can deploy the pilot or have a demonstration of a proof of concept with the selected EIC awardees. After the program, if you are a public buyer, you can launch a tender in compliance with the public procurement legal framework. And if you are a private buyer, you can buy the solution in compliance with the private law. So this is in general the description of the open call and which are the frequently asked questions, but we are now here to provide the answer to other questions that you might have and that you would like to address now. So please open your mic and share your thoughts on or question regarding my presentation and the previous one that Jorge and Carlos had it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Fiorella. It was super interesting. And I saw in the Q&A box that Jorge was already answering a question. Perhaps, Jorge, we can put this discussion on the table. I think it could be interesting for everyone in this webinar. Would you like that I formulate the question to you so you can answer as you did by written?
Yes, let me see.
Yes, we have a question from Sam Van Kamp that was already with us participating in the matchmaking session. And her question is, what to do if you don't know how much the cost of applying the innovation will cost? My organization, a local government, will not budget if they don't know how much money is needed.
Right, Carlos, if I may, I'm going to answer, Sana. And then if that's possible, and she's still with us, I will ask her to open the mic, or you enable the mic, and then we have that discussion. Okay. Unless Sana, have you read my answer?
I've read your answer. Thank you very much. It's very insightful. The organization is sees very much the benefit of the innovation. However, we need to budget in advance, and the budgeting for next year will be done this summer, which means we already have to know right now how much money we should allocate into applying this pilot. So that's where I have a problem, because it's a local government, we're funded by public money, so we have to be very considerate with how we spend it.
I understand. I have good news for you.
Great.
Which is that you will not procure this till 2027.
All right.
Okay. So in the best case, okay. So you have the summer of 2026 to allocate the budget. Okay. Right. So regarding timing, you are fine. You have 1 year, because sorry to say that, you still need to be selected. Okay. And even if you do, you have 12 months to do the piloting. So there is time. Okay. The important thing will be, and if you are selected, we from Ticbiomed, we will help you with this. That's the second good news. Okay. Yes. Still, and I'm going to ask you, well, I copy pasted, Carlos, but I think this is such an important question that we should share it with the video and the PowerPoint, okay? Because I think this is super relevant for the procurers, and maybe put it in the Q&A. Okay, maybe we elaborate a little bit more the answer. But Sane, so the good news about the timing is there, the good news that we are going to support you. I gave you 6 considerations. Have you read them?
Yes, I have read them.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any questions or any comments in any of them?
Not yet. However, the conversation buyer AIC as soon as possible, which means that we have to talk before we're applying to the open call, or is there, what do you exactly mean?
Right. You are applying for OC1, meaning that you are submitting a challenge together with the EIC, or you first OC2, you submit your challenge, and then we help you to find an EIC.
I'm afraid it will be OC2, because I have not had any company reach out to me. I'm sorry.
Is another good news. Then it's easier for you, okay? Because then you have the time in the selection process. You can also put in the description of your challenge, what are you looking for, what are the conditions, okay? Again, because a lot of people think that the requirements for the pilot is only functional, only technical. No. You can put requirements that are price, that are relationship model. You know, you are the owner of the challenge, and you will have the money to procure. So you are in the driving seat. You say what you want, what are your expectations, and then the EIC will see that, and then they decide, I play or I don't play, okay? But our point is that the earlier the expectations from everybody are put in the table, the better for everybody. Because at some point of time, you will need to discuss the price, the relationship model, all the details that are important to you and for them. So what we say, the earlier you guys get into an agreement or to a non-agreement, and then you say, we don't play, the better for everybody.
Yes. Thank you very much. I enjoy your talk very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Sane.
Thanks, Sane. And we also have a question for Fiorella. It's regarding the assessment criteria. What key evaluation criteria are used to assess the best proposals in the open call for buyers? And how do you ensure that the most impactful and feasible solutions are selected? Fiorella, all to you.
Yes, it's relating to evaluation criteria that I explained before, but we can go briefly through them again. After the eligibility check, which will be the first step to evaluate your proposal, then external evaluators are going to evaluate your proposal according to 4 main evaluation criteria. The commitment one have more height than the others because in this commitment criteria, there will be an evaluation of the management support and readiness to adopt the solution. I mean, it's relating also the technology readiness level, how much is advanced your unmet needs, how it's probable that your unmet need can be solved during this timeline. So during this 12-month program, but specifically during the 6 months of the deployment phase, which is the technical phase in which the EACR awardees are going to develop your solution. So this will have a huge impact. The readiness to adopt the solution that is not really perfectionate, but needs to have more time to deploy this solution during this 6 months of pilot deployment or POC demonstration phase. Then there is also the impact evaluation criteria. So what is the impact of your solution in terms of economic, environmental, and social benefits? And also how your proposal, your unmet needs align with the InnoMatch approach and methodology, and also relating to the 5 thematic areas in which you need to be strictly that you need to consider in your in the submission of your unmet need. So you need to consider the 5 thematic area, and your unmet need should be relating to one of these 5. Then the innovation also would be an evaluation criteria to consider so to which extent the unmet needs requires an innovative solution that is not currently available in the market. So I would say that these are the most important the evaluation criteria to consider. Of course, after the eligibility check. So if you are eligible, if you are buyers come from one of the European member states, or you are part of the third country associated with the Horizon Europe program. I don't know if I answer completely to your question, but let me know if you would like to have more information relating to this. I would like also to highlight that there is a panel discussion on the FSX platform. So after you register on the platform, you can use the discussion board in which you can address, you can ask all your questions. We can address your question with answers, and also there will be an email address that you can. But we can share it now in the chat. Mm-hmm. You can ask more question if you want.
Thank you so much, Fiorella. I think it was very clear, but anyway, we have this dedicated space in the F6S platform. Once you log in, you can access to all these discussions and join them, or just learn from others' doubts and questions. But as Fiorella said, we are going to be there to answer all your questions. We are quite on time. I would like to say thank you to Jorge and Fiorella But also, as this is the final webinar of this series, I would like also to say thank you to all our attendees. It's been almost 2 months of doing this kind of webinar, so huge thank you to all of our attendees. Thank you to all the InnoMatch partners that have supported us during all these calls. And for sure, please, Jorge.
No, go ahead. I talk after you. Sorry.
I would just like to say thank you also to our colleague Elena, who has been participating in all these webinars, but unfortunately she couldn't join us today as she is sick. But anyway, he has been supporting us. And as said, thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, Carlos, I didn't want. Oh, sorry. Can I say something before we leave?
Yes.
Right. I would like to say 2 things. One is that, especially for the what's so-called buyers, that for me are challenges for the people that they have the problem that wanted to get solved. I really encourage you to participate. We know that we don't give you money, okay? It's not our fault, okay? But what we will give you is, like in the case of Sane, we will give you a lot of support. And we give you the opportunity to work with the EACs, which are the top-notch companies in Europe, okay? So we think that especially for an organization that has a budget, another thing is how locate the budget. We think that is completely a great added value for you to start rolling out innovation within your organization if you haven't done it so. So InnoMatch is an opportunity to get little by little into this model, okay, of demand-driven. So it's a low risk, so to say, way to enter. So I really encourage you to participate. The second thing is that we hope that this, even if you don't apply, okay, you consider this video to give you tips about the importance of adoption and deployment, okay, and that you really anticipate success, because again, the majority of the small pilots like InnoMatch, they work, but what is the real challenge is to move between a successful pilot and the deployment. So even if you don't apply, please take this into consideration. I would like to thank also Carlos and Fiorella for all the great presentations and support during this webinar.
Thank you,
Thank you
Jorge.
all.
So, okay, that's the end for this webinar series. Thank you so much. And I hope seeing you applying to InnoMatch. Thank you and bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.